Also, I accidentally played my flute. That's the fog song, right? Yeah, that was the fog song, I think. Do I have the fog song equipped? Accessories. Lament of the Storm. Okay. Shadows in the Fog. There's the one I wanted. Dude. I cannot stress enough how beautiful this game is. On every level. You just change the weather at will too, in case you want certain. Like, look at this. Look at this. Any moment can just be cinematic as any single moment, just random. You're fine. Just change your depth of field a little bit. Turn it on. Make the background a little fuzzier. You know, change your color grading a little bit. You know, your vivid colors, etc., stuff like that. And boom, there you go. You got something cool. Just like that. A few seconds, so you're done. Just a few seconds. Or if I want to change, like, the particles, right? I can bring out birds or whatever. It says bring out some songbirds or whatever. Particle intensity a little lower. There you go. How many birds do I want? I'll turn it down a little bit, and boom. Do I want to keep moving? Let's turn that off. Boom, there you go. Can I move the title? Unfortunately not. It's just kind of stuck in the center of the screen if you turn it on. But, I mean, look. Look at that. And I can turn the field back off if I want more of birds to show up, of course, but... You know what I mean. I mean, look at that. Look at it. Yeah, I'll see if I can drop the title off here. Like, it works for certain scenes. There's like something between you and, you know, the environment or whatever. But look at this. This game's just beautiful. And then I could change the filter again if I wanted to highlight certain birds. Like, I could change it to... Where was it? We could change it, like... Storm filter, autumn filter, samurai red, smoke, maple, which highlights certain birds that have bits of red on them. Jinko, which highlights grass, you know, your yellows and your greens. Apply rule of thirds, yeah, basically. But yeah, it's so photogenic. It's such a photogenic game. And I love it so much for that. But of course, if you wanted to change the mood of a scene entirely, you could just like right now, so, oh, this is a vivid summer ride through the wilderness or whatever, right? But if you wanted to change the tone of it entirely, you could just change the particles to crows. Turn our animated environment back on. And then suddenly it's entirely different. It's like you're right, and then you can change the filter a little bit. Turn the particle intensity up a bit. Say 50%. Let's see. Current weather. And of course, you can change the weather to change the mood too if you want to. Look at that. A bit more space behind the horse, you're saying? Or even, we could just center Jin like this. And we could change the color grading a little bit, like maple. And boom, there you go. Got them roughly centered, something like that. Then change the focal length. A Jin of space. Something like that, you thinking? What do you think right about there? Of course, you could tighten the focal length without moving anything, so you make sure everything's still centered instead of trying to move yourself forward or back or whatever. And then, of course, if I wanted to, I could... Hang on, let me turn anime environment back. Let me turn anime environment back on. And then I could do this. We just... set position here. Set position here. Position there. Set position there. Position there. There, position there, position there, position there, position there, position there, position there, then end here. All right, now we just add a little bit of music. I'm assuming you can hear it. Check it. Now it's a little more janky than I need it to be, but you can kind of set the camera to just go to different spots and all that. Now I could go and like reset all the cameras, and I have this music set, and I could record this, right? So I set this position here. I set a few different ones along the way, so that it's smooth. And boom, there you go. Like it's that easy. And then if I wanted to make sure it lingers here for a little longer, I could put a few more cameras there. Make it rotate around a little bit. And boom, there you go. A scene immediately. You just got a scene right there. That simple. And it's features that you would expect to be in all the photo modes, but it's like, no, Sucker Punch is Sucker Punch, so they changed it a little bit. Because Sucker Punch made this. Sucker Punch invented photo modes in games. They were the ones that made the first one, and they came back and made the best. And it's great. But if you want to change the mood again, you could, like, bring out the red leaves. You could turn up the wind speed a little bit. Something around 30. You go around 30, something like that. And boom. Yeah, you can just set them to just go. You can set whatever leaf color you want. And of course, if I wanted to change the mood again, I could go change the filter to... I was already on maple, so that's fine, yeah. And then change the music to... You just have that. Of course, I could change the color gradings in like Jinko, change the leaves to yellow leaves instead, and then they're highlighted by the filter while everything else that isn't yellow or green goes totally dark, right? And then I'm just set, because I can just do this. And everything goes dark and the mood completely changes. I don't know what Twitch did deleting a link. Like, I don't know why Twitch thinks there's a link there. Whatever, I'll change that in a bit. But yeah, it's just... Like, I just randomly decided to stop here, change the weather, change the environment, all that stuff, right? And I could even change the weather again, like if I wanted to change the mood completely, like just completely transform it. I could change it to overcast, and that music is still there, you know? And I could do that again, and that changes the mood of the animation completely, alongside the music. Like, I'm just gonna shut up for a minute and let it go. The music is the best part of it, because it's like, it's something you wouldn't expect to be a feature, but they just throw it in, like, oh yeah, you have this option now. And I keep thinking, like, every time I read a review that says, oh, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing revolutionary, it's nothing super special, but it'll work, it's fine, it's good, every aspect of it is acceptable kind of thing, I'm just like, no, there's so much here that needs to be considered for future games in general. It changes the way you design open world games. It changes the way these photo modes work. It changes the way you bring people into an experience. It changes the way you help people create an experience. It helps you create art out of the game by just giving you the tools to control everything around it. Like this game, alright, allows you to make more promotional material than they can make for the game itself. Hey there, muffins, how you doing? Nice to have the happy couple in my stream chat. But yeah, it's just... Look at this. And now the entire mood has changed from the way I initially said it. Just completely. Or if I wanted to make it more action-y, right, I could go for... Let's see, what can I do? Change the current weather, which is already kind of foggy. And I could change my particles to embers instead, to ashen embers. I could change my filter to maple, so that the ashen embers stand out more. I could change the wind direction a little bit, so that more of the embers are flowing towards this direction. I could shrink down the focal length a little bit, so focus more on Jin. And boom. And then if I wanted to, I could change the music again. I'm assuming he wants to do it. Now I'll just shut up for a minute to let the music go. I dress them like this. And of course, if I wanted to add the stamp, I could do it, and it would change it again. And now it looks like promotional material. Now it looks like an illustration, and it's that simple. And there's just so many little things about this game that make it fantastic. And the people who don't really take the time to pay attention to and appreciate those little things won't think the game is extraordinary. They're like, oh, it's okay, it's kind of a basic third-person action game or whatever. But if you take the time to figure that all out... Oh yeah, I heard about that changing. Like, the frame rate changes, the aspect ratio changes, the sound becomes a little more muted to fit the way those movies sounded, and it's great. Because I hear people go, oh, it's black and white mode. It's not black and white mode. You have the film grain. You have, again, the change to the frame rate to match older films. You have all of that. It's just great. And we can also change the wind direction to be the exact opposite. So it's going facing away from Jin or something. If we wanted, we could do that. So that the ember's coming from the other side, facing the horse. sound mix completely changes. Interesting. Okay, good to know. I'll have to actually do a stream Kurosawa mode, see if I notice a difference at some point. But yeah, it's... Now, you see all these changes that have been made, right? Everything I did to change this up a lot. Not sure if the spoken Japanese changed too to be more old? Yeah, I'll do some research on that. I'll see what that's about. But yeah, now you see how much this has been changed, right? How much I've done to this image. From just this random spot that I decided to check out and see how it would go. Right? Now let's just do that again. Let's change it to something like heavy fog or sunbreak. Let's change to sunbreak again. And each of these changes the mood again. And the stamp being there changes the mood. And the music changes the mood and all of it. It's just great. It's just great. And you can change his helmet to mask or whatever. You could hide those if you wanted to. You can change Jin's emotion in a given moment. The actual form of the language. Interesting. And then if you change the music again, it turns kind of somber without having to change the visual to make it more somber or whatever. So then now you have a completely different scene than it had just a few seconds ago. Just by changing the effect and changing the weather. And maybe changing the filter a little bit. But I still have not moved the camera at all, but the mood of the entire thing has changed. I can even turn down the exposure bias to make it a little darker. And there you go. It's just... I just love it, alright? I just love it. It's great. It's really, really great, and I wish it were more easy for people to appreciate. And of course you could do this. You could like have your blood red dark samurai against the background or whatever. You turn everything completely dark and just have the red streaks in the sky, a pretty opaque looking Jin there. And you've got that. And the embers just stand out like crazy, especially with the maple filter on. Because, look at it. Just look at it. And this with the music. I'm trying to shut up a minute and let you guys listen to this, because... Yeah, like it looks fantastic, and I'm sitting here going, I didn't have to do that much. Like I changed the weather, I changed the filter, I added some embers, and that was it. And you just turn the exposure bias way down to make it super dark, and there you go. And it changes everything about it. Now I want you to keep this image in mind, and I'm going to upload this to Twitter later, right? Just for comparison's sake, but... Now if I add the stamp, of course, it changes the mood again, right? As I keep mentioning. Right, so you keep that in mind. Now keep this image here in mind. And watch when I exit photo mode. Look how different. Look at that. Look at the massive difference here. A few minutes screwing around in photo mode, and this area becomes something entirely different than what it is. Like, look at that. You don't see that in the photo modes of a lot of games. It's just kind of like a basic, oh, I want to take a picture of this, but with a filter or whatever. And it's just, there's so much opportunity to make so much. This game is social media bait to the extreme. And like even this is still beautiful with no changes. It's great. It's just perfect. Like I'm walking around through here, and this right here could be like a dynamic theme I'd pay $2 for. Just walking through this. I would pay money for that. Legit. Just this sequence from this angle.